If you've been on college campuses lately, spent any time on dating apps, or listened to a YouTuber's voice for more than 5 minutes, you probably have a general feeling that manliness is falling worldwide. And if you look at various studies, they actually back this up. Testosterone levels, sperm count, and various other measures of manly vigor have been falling over the past couple decades. While it may be fun to laugh at the overcompensating chuds who are worried about this, the decline of a hormone responsible for drive and motivation is actually a very bad thing for anyone who wants a functioning society. There have been all sorts of explanations thrown at this, and if you listen to the scientific community, they'll tell you obesity is the main cause. If you listen to based online right-wing influencers, they'll tell you how you should be avoiding soy and seed oils, the second of which is apparently the cause of at least 90% of all health problems. Who's right? Well, if either of them were totally right, you wouldn't need me now, would you? So throughout this video, we'll be going over some of the main proposed causes, including soy, seed oils, and xenoestrogens. If any of this sounds interesting to you, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications on new videos, consider signing up for YouTube membership, backing me on Patreon, or buying merch. All of this really helps the channel. And a quick shout out to my backers on Patreon, including Sir Florida Man and Lunatic Cultists. The first thing we'll be discussing is soy. This stuff has made a big splash on the internet since about 2017 or so. Since then, as concerns about the World Economic Forum and their "you will live in the pod" ideas have exploded, the proposed role of soy as a meat substitute has earned it a good deal more reflexive ire. The mechanism by which they're supposed to influence testosterone is relatively simple. Soybeans are rich in isoflavones, a chemical with a similar molecular structure to estrogen, which is why we call it a phytoestrogen. Just like estrogen, it binds to cells on a protein in cells called an estrogen receptor, which sends signals to the cell. With normal estrogen, these signals would be to feminize you and decrease your mood and all the other negative effects of excess estrogen. But isoflavones bond in a different way. While normal estrogen interacts with two different receptor proteins, isoflavones can only affect one. Now, monitoring the exact instructions they send to cells is difficult, and so is extrapolating that info over the whole body, so the process is a bit of a black box, and we have to rely on studies of the outcomes to know what, if any, effect this has. There are a lot of such studies, and ultimately what we need is a systematic review that can compare all of them and see what effects isoflavone and soy intake have on testosterone, estrogen, estrone, and everything else across multiple studies and multiple demographics. Luckily, we have such a study. What did it say? I'll be happy to tell you after a quick word from our sponsor. You know that I've always had a bit of a soft spot for innovation, and that's why I am unironically proud to say that this video is sponsored by Exter, who you can think of as the SpaceX of wallets. Traditional bifold wallets have remained basically the same since 1950, and they often leave you spending valuable time fishing around for your cards when you need them now. Exter has revolutionized this whole process, and they sent me a bunch of products to show you how they did it. Like this aluminum card holder, all you have to do is press the trigger and boom, there's your cards. There's also space for 6 more cards underneath an anti-scanning backplate that protects them from RFID jacking. All you have to do is push on them and they come out. Or this wallet design that has the same card holder features and a strap for loose cash and room for extra cards on the inside. They also offer a solar-powered tracking device that can find your wallet and make it ring if it's within 200 feet, or which can tell you where your phone was last in contact with it, making it far easier to track down. Extra's products feel like a straight upgrade on the traditional wallet. They really do everything better with no cost to the end user. Go to shop.extra.com/justthefacts or use promo code JustTheFacts at checkout for up to 25% off all orders or 35% off orders above $200 plus a free cash clip, and enter the future of wallets today. So what did the Grand Meta Study find? Well, it combined 41 different academic studies and came to the conclusion that there was no statistically significant change in total testosterone, free testosterone, SHBG, estriadol, or estrone caused by soy or isoflavones. Now, the 5 of you who are able to read this chart might do so and say, aha, not a statistically significant change, but some of these variables are shifting in the direction that would indicate our anti-soy narrative is correct. Well, maybe, but when you compare studies that apply larger doses and went on for longer to those that applied smaller doses and went on for shorter periods, you see no difference, or even a difference in favor of the larger doses and longer exposure in some cases. So based off the evidence that the big meta-study and all the studies it surveys provides, soy has no impact on testosterone. Now let's talk about seed oils. This is far newer than the soy thing and consists of a general skepticism of all polyunsaturated fats, canola oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, and several others. These have been blamed for literally 90% of all known health issues, inflammation, strokes, Alzheimer's, and even sunburns. Now, you know this is new because when you Google them, you don't get links to a million fact checks. So new, in fact, that the research is limited on all the things they're supposed to have an effect on. Some studies show them having a positive effect on a variety of maladies, some others show negative effects. Even the big systematic review I'm looking at says there isn't enough research to say for sure, though it comes down on the positive side. It's even less clear when you're talking about testosterone. One Japanese study compared testosterone levels in hypertensive stroke-prone rats that were fed soybean oil and canola oil. Now, you might ask, why not use regular rats? Or alternatively, where's your control group? What about the rats that were fed normal food? Shut up is the reply. And we can almost accept it regardless of these flaws, because unless the soybean oil increased testosterone, the canola oil decreased it. But then another study came along where a group of Turkish scientists tried to replicate these findings and found that canola oil increased testosterone. So why is there such a difference between Japanese hypertensive rats and Turkish hypertensive rats? I guess this is just one of those things we need more research on, but I wouldn't freak out about it just yet. The last thing we'll be talking about is xenoestrogens, which are a critical portion of this equation. Ever since the widespread adoption of birth control, the hormonal byproducts have been expelled into the sewer system through women's toilets, and then from the sewage system into the water system. There are other sources as well, such as microplastics like BPA, which imitate estrogen in the human body. Worst of all, these chemicals take a long time to break down naturally. So, are they at dangerous levels? It took me a while to find a good study on this, but the answer seems to be that it depends on which chemical you're talking about, which continent, and whether you're measuring at wastewater treatment plants or natural water bodies. That being said, every single continent has at least a couple xenoestrogens at high risk levels. They're even turning the friggin' penguins gay. So this is probably the most important risk factor which should be worked against at a societal level, and on an individual level, from what I see, you want to buy a reverse osmosis filter. The decline in worldwide testosterone is a global health crisis, worse than COVID by some measures. The fact that there aren't legislative committees in every major country to narrow down the exact causes of the issue and to start legislating solutions is an indictment of our political institutions. We should be putting billions of dollars into improving wastewater treatment, banning the use of estrogenic plastics and subsidizing replacements, and breeding new bacteria to consume the xenoestrogens already in the environment. Instead, governments are 100% missing on this issue, ignoring a crisis, which leaves people who actually notice the matter with only seed oil and soybean targeting online gurus to listen to, which in turn distracts them from a proven culprit and takes time and energy away that could help things happen. We managed to find $50 billion for microprocessor plants. We should be able to find similar money for this. Maybe one of my viewers is secretly a congressional staffer or something and this is what we'll see, but for right now the best we can do is turn our attention to the real culprits health-wise, and those are just the facts. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications on new videos, and consider signing up for YouTube membership, back me on Patreon, or buying merch. All of this really helps the channel. Goodbye!